let me it's great that we're bringing this up. I'm going to just jump to this part of the questions that I have for you. It's a quote from the Tao Te Ching. It says 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a bowl. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows from a room or for a room. It is the space which makes it useful. Therefore, benefit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. And, in my life, and I skip to this question because in my life, the ability to create space within emotionally in my responses and just kind of like how we're talking has been the most useful thing. Being able to like get shit on by, people or whoever, situations. Typically it's more situations. And just being able to accept what I feel I shouldn't have to be accepting. Like, this should have happened to me. Like that person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. And then having to just create that space before I respond, before I make a decision, holding that stone before I cast or make an irrational decision. Could you speak onto how, sometimes I forget how I even started that journey. How could people start that? I feel if everybody had that in their tool belt of life or capabilities, the world would probably 10x the potential.
So for me, I started out when I was like 18 with yoga, and it helped me in the sense, I think the most valuable thing I got from yoga is that I would just breathe very consciously for an hour and I would just be good. And from there, I discovered Tai Chi not that much longer away from that. And then I started just doing pretty much only Tai Chi. And that's what helped me. I was a very athletic person. I was very much in my head. And for me, like a sitting meditation seemed like the craziest thing in the world, even to sit still. Even now I struggle sometimes. I just like running around like a chicken with my head cut off, like, oh, what can I do? I gotta do more, like whatever, and finding the balance in that. But yeah, for me, it was Tai Chi because it was something I could move and kind of relax and just, it helped my mind to let go because I was actively doing something versus just sitting there. But then again, that's like, there's so many different roads. So for someone like that, who's maybe more athletic, they're very much in their head, they have a hard time being still, that's probably a very useful tool to use. Though I will say now I do a lot less Tai Chi. I still find it very valuable and I use it kind of like when I feel like I need it. Though it's kind of like one of those things, it's like a step that gets you to the place. Now all I do for that kind of thing is like 5 minutes every day in the morning. I just observe the space between my thoughts. And so a thought will rise and I allow it to just do its thing and then it goes and there's a space between that thought and the next thought. And you keep observing that space and it starts to expand, expand, expand. And the more you practice it, the easier this gets. And then you can begin to take this into your daily life while you're driving, while you're out and about, and observing your thoughts more consciously as they're happening and allowing them to flow. Because for me, I suppressed a lot of my emotions and my thoughts for many, many years. And so allowing these thoughts to run their cycle was a lot of the work for me to do. And so I found a lot of value in this exercise because you're observing thought, but you're also creating this spaciousness. And this is a form of passive meditation. And I think it's important to also note that there's many people that consider themselves to be empaths and like very energetically sensitive and this kind of thing. And there's many variables that can lead to this. But to keep it as simple as possible, it's like we can be too passive. And I was definitely way into that realm. And the problem with that is if you become too developed, even in this form of meditation, without the balancing force, then you become too sensitive to other people's emotions or thoughts. Like all the thing with the thoughts thing, if you quiet the space between the thoughts, you'll start to notice other people's thoughts because you don't have any thoughts there. And so you can become too sensitive, and then things can get muddled, which is not a very healthy place to be. And that's where it's important to bring in a form of active meditation. In one form I learned, this is from a man, Robert Gilbert. He has a course, The Essential Teachings and Spiritual Practices,
Mhm.
on Vesica Institute. I would highly recommend it. And like the exercise he has you do is observe kind of like the space where your pineal gland is, and you just visualize a little golden dot, and then you expand it to the degree that encompasses your head, and then you keep expanding it for like 5 minutes. And this is what he called like the illumination of your thinking center. And there's many techniques like this you can do. Steiner had a lot of techniques about connecting with plants and visualizing the seed opening up and then the plant sprouting and then going through its full cycle into full bloom and then death or residing back into the earth. And so there's many different visualizations. And the thing about this is, you can take the scientific perspective and look at that we have mirror neurons, and that's why people enjoy watching sports and this kind of thing, because you feel like you're there. You're watching a scary movie, like you get adrenaline rush, so that the brain can't really differentiate. So if you observe this plant going through its process, you're actually experiencing the expression of that, and your brain doesn't really know the difference that that's not happening to you. And there's deeper, I guess, esoteric aspects of that, but I mean, on a brain level, that's kind of what's going on. And so these different visualizations are very powerful for cultivating qualities within us. And what this does is it creates more of a masculine creative force within you, which balances this very yin passive form of meditation. And through this, you become much more stronger in your presence, much stronger in your spirit and your embodiment, that you don't get thrown off by everything going on around you anymore.